Our brains are going through something like 60,000 thoughts every single day.
Wow.
And a huge, like 80% of those are negative.
Really?
It's crazy. Almost like we're like hardwired for self-doubt, you know?
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Have you ever felt that way? Like you're working really hard, you know you've got the skills, but then this nagging voice is like, what if I totally mess this up?
Yeah.
Or am I even good enough to be doing this?
All the time. I think it's so incredibly common. It really just shows how our brains are like working against us when it comes to confidence.
Yeah.
It's like we're programmed to zero in on all the things that could go wrong.
Right.
And fixate on negative outcomes, which, you know, I guess makes sense from like an evolutionary standpoint. It's probably some kind of survival mechanism we inherited from our caveman ancestors.
Oh, that's interesting. So how do we like hack this system? Like, is there a way to actually rewire our brains for like unshakable confidence?
That's exactly what we're going to dive into today.
I like it.
We're going to dish all the fluffy self-help stuff and really get down to the science of it all. Think of it as like upgrading your mental software from, I don't know, dial-up to fiber optic for your mindset.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we even begin?
Well, first we have to tackle this huge misconception that most people have about confidence.
Oh.
That it's a feeling, something you either have or you don't.
Right.
But that's so not how it works. Confidence isn't a feeling, it's an action. It's not about waiting until you feel confident before you actually do something. It's about doing it even if you feel totally terrified. Think about it, like when you were learning to ride a bike as a kid. You didn't just magically wake up one day knowing how to balance and pedal right.
No way.
You had to get on that bike, wobble around, maybe even fall a few times. But it was through that process of trying and failing that you actually built the skill,
Right.
and the confidence just naturally came along with it.
Yeah. So it's not about waiting for like some magical confidence fairy to sprinkle you with self-belief. It's about like taking that first step, that action.
Yes,
Even if it feels like messy and uncomfortable at first.
And every single time you push yourself outside of your comfort zone and try something new, you're essentially rewiring your brain. You're strengthening neural pathways, those connections in your brain that allow you to perform certain actions or think in new ways.
Okay, so I've heard of neural pathways before. It's like, what is it like building a muscle? The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Yeah. You're exactly right. And this leads us to something called the confidence-competence loop.
The confidence-competence loop.
Yep. So basically, the more you try, the more competent you become at something. And guess what? The more competent you become, the more confident you feel. So it's like an upward spiral. And the fuel for that spiral is action.
I am loving this.
Yes.
So this isn't like some motivational fluff. This is actual like neuroscience. There's real scientific evidence showing that taking action literally changes your brain, even if you're terrible at it initially.
Totally. It's incredible.
I love that. So, okay, we've established confidence comes from doing, not feeling. But what about all those negative thoughts, like, you know, all the I can't thoughts and the what if I fail thoughts
Oh, I know those. Well,
that just seem to like pop up all the time?
Well, those thoughts, unfortunately, are the byproduct of what's called our brain's negativity bias. It's like an evolutionary leftover, something our ancestors needed to survive.
Oh, really?
Because they had to constantly be on the lookout for danger.
Wow.
So our brains are basically programmed to focus on the negative as a way to protect us, you know?
Yeah.
Keep us safe.
So even though most of us aren't facing life or death situations every day, our brains are still stuck in that like super cautious mode.
Kind of.
That's wild.
Yeah, and it can lead to so much anxiety and self-doubt, make us feel like we're not equipped to handle challenges.
Makes sense. So how do we like overcome this negativity bias then?
Well, it definitely takes effort, conscious effort and practice, but there are a lot of really cool techniques we can use to like rewire our brains and start breaking free from those negative thought patterns.
And that's what we're going to be exploring more in this deep dive. We're gonna, like uncover why those thoughts are so darn persistent.
Yeah.
And most importantly, how we can reframe them.
Exactly. We'll also be debunking some common myths about confidence, like the one that says confident people are always extroverts, the life of the party.
Oh, yeah.
But that's totally not true. I mean, think about some of the most successful people in history. Bill Gates, Rosa Parks, even Albert Einstein.
Right.
They all had this quiet, unwavering confidence that didn't depend on them being the center of attention.
So true.
So really, confidence is about that inner knowing, that depth sense of self-belief, and that doesn't rely on being loud or outgoing.
It's about like trusting your own voice and your own abilities, even if you're not the loudest person in the room.
Exactly. And another myth we'll be busting is that confidence comes from winning.
Oh, yeah.
From having a perfect track record. But real confidence, the unshakable kind, it's actually forged in the fire of failure.
You mean like our setbacks and obstacles are actually what make us stronger?
Exactly. Every single setback, every obstacle, every failure is an opportunity to learn and grow and become more resilient. It's about viewing these challenges not as threats, but as like stepping stones on the path to success.
It's almost like earning your confidence stripes.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because the truth is you learn way more from your mistakes than you do from your successes.
So true.
It's about like getting back up after a fall, proving to yourself that you can handle whatever life throws at you.
Yeah, and that ability to bounce back, that's a huge part of true confidence, right?
Yeah.
It's about knowing that you can handle those challenges, even if you don't always nail it on the first try.
Yes, it's all about the resilience.
So instead of fearing failure, we should kind of embrace it, see it as this essential part of the learning process.
Exactly.
It's not about avoiding mistakes, it's about learning from them, becoming more resilient because of them.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And this leads us to another really important point. You can't actually lose your confidence.
Wait.
It might get buried under fear or self-doubt, sure, but the potential, the spark for confidence is always there.
Oh, okay, so it's like a muscle that can be retrained, even if it's kind of weak right now.
Yes, exactly. So even if you're feeling insecure, unsure of yourself, remember.
Yeah.
You absolutely have the power to rebuild that confidence. It just needs a little reactivation, a little strengthening.
And we'll be exploring a bunch of practical techniques to do just that in this deep dive. One of my favorites is Mel Robbins' 5-second rule, which is such a simple but powerful technique for overcoming procrastination and taking action.
Such a good one.
I'm a huge fan of that rule.
Me too.
It's really helped me break through so many of those moments where I'm like, ugh, I don't know if I can do this.
Well, it's so effective because it sort of interrupts that cycle of overthinking and hesitation that can really sabotage our confidence.
Yeah.
And it activates the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that's all about decision-making and taking action.
Oh, so it's like a mental override switch. It's like hitting the go button before our brains have a chance to like talk us out of it.
You got it.
And in the next part of this deep dive, we're going to explore the 5-second rule even more, along with other really cool techniques for hacking our brains and building that unshakable confidence. I am pumped.
Me too. This is going to be good. Welcome back to our deep dive into building unshakable confidence.
I'm so ready for more.
We've already debunked some of those common myths and really dug into the science behind how confidence is built. Now it's time to like get practical and explore some of the tools you can actually start using today.
Yes. And one of my absolute favorites is the 5-second rule. It's just so simple, but so effective. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then move E.
Right. I love it.
It's brilliant.
It's all about interrupting that pattern of overthinking and hesitation that I think we all get caught up in. It's like our brains are kind of wired to avoid discomfort and risk.
Oh, for sure.
So when we're faced with something challenging, our instinct is to hit the brakes, come up with excuses, and just stay safely tucked away in our comfort zone.
It's so true. And that's exactly where the 5-second rule comes in. That countdown.
Yeah.
It's like a mental circuit breaker. It like shifts your focus away from those fear-based impulses and towards the action you actually want to take.
Exactly.
It's like giving your brain a little nudge to get out of its own way.
You know what's amazing about this technique is the neurological impact.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that countdown isn't just some like motivational trick.
Right.
It actually engages your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that's in charge of decision-making, planning, and impulse control.
Wow. So instead of getting trapped in that loop of what ifs and I can'ts, you're actually activating the part of your brain that says, let's do this. It's like taking control of your thoughts and actions instead of letting your fears call all the shots.
You got it. And, you know, it's not just about big life-changing decisions. The 5-second rule, it can be used for all those everyday moments of hesitation, you know, those little acts of courage that can really add up and build your confidence over time.
Totally. Like speaking up in a meeting when you have an awesome idea.
Yes.
Or approaching someone new at like a networking event.
Absolutely. Or even like choosing the healthier option at the grocery store, you know, when you're tempted by all those sugary snacks.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's about like creating a habit of taking action even when you don't feel like 100% ready.
Yeah, even when you're like a little afraid or have no clue what's going to happen, that's where real confidence comes from, that willingness to push through those initial moments of discomfort.
I love that. And you know what's so inspiring? Mel Robbins' own story. She went from feeling totally stuck, like facing unemployment and a ton of debt,
Wow.
to building an amazing career as a speaker, an author, and a TV host.
That's incredible.
And it all started with this commitment to taking action, even when it felt really scary.
It's such a great example of how small, consistent actions fueled by the 5-second rule can lead to extraordinary results. The key is to remember that confidence is a muscle, and like any muscle, it needs to be worked out regularly.
Yes. I love that. Okay, so if you're feeling stuck in hesitation or self-doubt, give the 5-second rule a shot. It's a quick, easy, and surprisingly effective way to break through those mental barriers.
Totally. And moving on from taking immediate action, let's explore the power of objectivity.
Objectivity?
Yeah, it's all about detaching from those intense emotions that can cloud our judgment and really sabotage our confidence.
Because when we're trapped in a spiral of fear or self-doubt, our perspective gets so narrow. It's like we're looking at the situation through this distorted lens.
Right.
We only see the potential dangers and completely miss our own strengths and resources.
It's like being lost in a dense forest.
Ooh.
You can't see the path ahead, and you just start to panic, feel trapped, and completely overwhelmed.
Right.
But objectivity helps you rise above the trees, so to speak, gain a broader perspective.
I love that analogy. So how do we actually cultivate objectivity in a practical way?
Well, one of the most effective techniques is the use of an alter ego.
An alter ego?
Yeah. Think of it like channeling a different part of yourself, a part that embodies the qualities you need to overcome that specific challenge.
So like summoning your inner superhero, that part of you that's brave, confident, resourceful, unstoppable.
It could be like someone you admire, a fictional character, or even an idealized future version of yourself.
So if I'm feeling super intimidated by a presentation I have to give, I could channel my inner, Michelle Obama, known for her incredible public speaking skills.
Exactly. The key is to choose an alter ego who embodies the traits you want to cultivate in that moment by stepping into this alter ego. You're basically giving yourself permission to think and act differently. It creates the psychological distance from your fears and allows you to tap into a different set of beliefs and behaviors.
That's so fascinating. It's like putting on a costume.
Yeah.
And with that costume comes this whole new set of powers and possibilities. You might find yourself standing taller, speaking with more conviction, and feeling so much more capable than you ever thought possible.
It can be really transformative. Now, another powerful technique for cultivating objectivity is future self-visualization.
Future self-visualization.
Yeah. This is where you project yourself into the future and imagine that you've already achieved your goal or overcome whatever challenge is causing you stress right now.
Oh, I love this. It's like tricking your brain into thinking that you've already achieved the thing.
Kind of. It's more about shifting your perspective. Instead of seeing the situation as this insurmountable obstacle, you start to see it as a temporary hurdle on the path to a bigger goal.
Okay, so I'd imagine myself 5 years from now having successfully navigated this really tough presentation.
Exactly. And then you ask yourself, what advice would that future you give to your present self? What insights or perspectives would they offer to help you move forward with more confidence and clarity?
I love that. This technique is so empowering because it reminds you that you have the capacity to grow, to change, and to achieve those goals. It's like tapping into your inner wisdom. Yeah. That part of you that already knows the way forward, even if your present self is feeling a little lost or unsure.
Exactly. Confidence isn't about the absence of fear or doubt.
Right.
It's about learning how to manage those emotions,
to
see them as temporary visitors, not permanent residents in your mind.
Love it.
And techniques like alter ego and future self-visualization are powerful tools for cultivating that inner resilience and objectivity.
Okay, so we've got taking action, developing objectivity. What else? What's another crucial element in building confidence?
Well, preparation. We often think of preparation as something we do for big events like exams or presentations.
Yeah.
But it's actually super important for everyday situations too.
Oh, interesting.
Things that might trigger anxiety or self-doubt.
So preparation is all about reducing uncertainty and increasing that sense of control.
Exactly. It's about feeling equipped to handle whatever comes your way, rather than feeling overwhelmed by the unknown.
Makes sense. When I think about those times when I've felt really confident, I realize I felt super prepared.
Right.
Like I had the knowledge, the skills, and all the resources to handle anything. That sense of preparedness is like the ultimate antidote to anxiety and self-doubt.
Absolutely. When we feel prepared, we're way less likely to get caught up in those negative thought patterns. We feel more capable, more resourceful, and just like more confident overall.
So how do we apply this principle of preparation to like everyday life?
It's about taking those small, consistent steps to build our competence, which then naturally leads to greater confidence. You know, it could be something as simple as doing your research before a meeting, so you're familiar with all the key topics, or practicing your presentation beforehand, you know, so you refine your delivery and feel more comfortable speaking in front of others.
Yeah, or even just planning out your day the night before to create a sense of structure and like reduce that feeling of overwhelm.
Yes. The more we practice and prepare, the more competent we become in those specific areas. And as our competence grows, so does our confidence.
It's that beautiful upward spiral.
Exactly. It's important to remember, though, that preparation isn't about striving for perfection or trying to, like, eliminate all risk.
Right.
It's about equipping yourself with the tools and knowledge you need to feel more confident in handling whatever comes your way.
It's like packing for a trip.
Yeah.
You don't pack for every possible scenario, but you pack the essentials
Exactly.
to feel prepared for the most likely situations.
And that preparation gives you peace of mind and allows you to really enjoy the journey. But even with the best preparation, things don't always go according to plan.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Life throws curveballs, you know. So how do we deal with those inevitable failures and disappointments without letting them completely crush our confidence?
Okay, so that's where reframing failure comes in.
You got it. Instead of seeing failure as a negative reflection of our abilities or a reason to just give up, we can choose to see it as a valuable learning opportunity.
A chance to like course correct and come back even stronger.
It's like a feedback mechanism. You know, every setback, every mistake, every failure is basically giving you valuable information about what works and what doesn't, what to do more of and what to avoid in the future.
So it's about shifting our mindset from like a fixed mindset, where we believe our abilities are like set in stone, to a growth mindset.
Yes.
Where we believe we can learn and grow from everything, even the tough stuff.
Exactly. And a great question to ask yourself is, what can I learn from this experience? Or what adjustments can I make to improve my approach next time?
Love that.
It's all about focusing on solutions rather than dwelling on the problem.
So instead of seeing failure as this dead end, we see it as a detour, a chance to discover a new path or to like refine our existing one.
Beautifully said. This approach can be so empowering because it takes the sting out of failure.
It does.
It transforms it into a valuable stepping stone on your journey towards greater confidence and success.
And you know, it's important to remember that you're not alone in this.
Right.
Every successful person, every single one of them has faced tons of setbacks and failures.
Oh, yeah.
It's not about avoiding failure. It's about learning to navigate it effectively and use it as fuel for growth.
Yes. And in the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore another crucial aspect of building unshakable confidence, focusing on yourself.
Oh, I'm excited for that. We'll discuss how to like tune out the external noise, build a strong sense of self-worth, and create a mental environment that really supports our confidence and growth.
That's going to be good.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into building unshakable confidence. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
From the neuroscience to practical tools like that 5-second rule and the power of objectivity and
reframing failure.
Yes, reframing failure.
Yeah.
And now I'm excited for this. We're going to explore this crucial element that I think often gets overlooked.
Oh, for sure.
In the quest for confidence. Focusing on yourself. It's about like silencing the noise from the outside world, all the distractions, and getting really clear on your own values, goals, and aspirations.
It's so important because, you know, in today's world, we are just bombarded with messages about like what we should be doing, what we should be achieving, and how we should be living our lives.
Right.
It's so easy to get caught up in comparing ourselves to everyone else and then feeling like we're somehow falling short.
Totally. And I think social media is like the ultimate culprit, right?
Ugh. Yes, it's a highlight reel of like perfectly curated images and stories.
Right.
And it's such a distorted view of reality, isn't it? We see everyone's successes, their perfect vacations, their effortless achievements, and like we start to think that everyone else has it all figured out except for us.
Right.
It can be so damaging to our self-esteem and our confidence.
It is. It's like it creates this sense of lack, this feeling that we're just like not enough, that we're somehow behind in the race of life.
Exactly. But you know what? There is no race. We are all on our own unique journeys with our own unique set of strengths, challenges, and aspirations.
Right.
And the more we focus on comparing ourselves to others, the further we stray from our own path and our own potential.
So how do we break free from this like comparison trap and self-doubt?
Well, it starts with a conscious decision to shift our focus inward, to tune out all that external noise, and really connect with our own inner compass. It's about recognizing that our worth is inherent. It doesn't depend on external validation or comparing ourselves to others.
Right.
It's about embracing our own unique journey,
I love that.
our own strengths, our own values, and our own definition of success.
So like, what's a good first step someone can take to start focusing on themselves?
I think becoming aware of the things that trigger those feelings of comparison and self-doubt is huge.
Yeah.
You know, like, what are the specific social media accounts, the people, the environments, or the situations that make you feel like inadequate or insecure?
Okay, yeah.
Once you've identified those triggers, you can start to consciously limit your exposure to them. Maybe it means unfollowing certain accounts, setting boundaries with certain people, or even just choosing to spend less time in environments that make you feel bad about yourself.
Yeah, like it's almost like creating this mental filter, right? Letting in the good stuff, the things that like nourish and support you, while blocking out the things that drain your energy and make you feel less than.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just about what you're consuming.
Right.
It's also about what you're creating. Are you spending your time and energy on things that are truly meaningful to you? Things that are aligned with your values and bring you a sense of purpose and fulfillment? Or are you chasing after external validation, approval, trying to fit into a mold that just doesn't feel authentic?
It's so easy to fall into that trap, especially with like social media and everything.
Yeah.
It's about getting really clear on what matters to you, what makes you come alive, what you want to contribute to the world.
And that clarity, that sense of purpose, it can be an incredibly powerful source of confidence. But when you're living in alignment with your values and pursuing goals that are actually meaningful to you, you tap into this like wellspring of inner strength and resilience.
Yes. And I think it's so important to emphasize that focusing on yourself is not about being selfish.
Right. It's not about
or like ignoring the needs of others. It's about recognizing that your own well-being is essential.
It's like you're filling up your own cup so you can actually show up and give to others from a place of abundance.
Exactly. It's understanding that your own inner peace, your own sense of self-worth, and your own confidence aren't luxuries. They're necessities.
Yes.
They're the foundation for everything. Your relationships, your career, creating a life that feels authentic.
Yeah, and aligned with who you truly are.
Exactly.
I love that. Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into building unshakable confidence, I think the biggest takeaway is that confidence isn't a destination, it's a journey. It's about continuous growth and evolution.
It is.
There will be ups and downs, moments of self-assurance and moments of doubt, but by integrating the principles and tools we've talked about today, you can cultivate that deep, unshakable confidence that allows you to live a life that's truly yours.
That's so well said.
A life that's filled with purpose and meaning and joy.
I love that.
And remember, confidence isn't about being perfect or having all the answers.
Right.
It's about trusting yourself, embracing your imperfections.
And having the courage to keep learning, keep growing, and keep moving forward, even when things get tough. And if you want to keep exploring these ideas with us, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We have so many more deep dives coming your way, exploring all kinds of topics designed to help you live a more intentional, empowered, and meaningful life. Thanks for joining us.